Hey there, everybody. This is Brandy J, and we're here talking about bullying. This segment's good 30 minutes and very important. And this is for parents, families, kids, just to go over bullying and what it is, what the three B's are, and then get into why this is a very important topic, why bullying is always being talked about and just being talked about, and the outcome and the things that it can set off, life destroying things that are talked about, but nothing's ever done about. And then no one wonders why this isn't a bigger deal in our daily lives. It's all about economy, economy, economy. But what about our kids? What about our youth? What about the very lives that this very thing is destroying? No matter what anyone says or thinks when they say, oh, well, they should do this or they doesn't really matter when lives are being destroyed and fatalities are happening. It's about the solution and what we are not doing. So, therefore, if you're not doing anything, you probably should sit and listen, right? If your opinions and thoughts are not useful, then you probably should keep them to yourself. The three B's in bullying. Well, there's the bully, the bullied, and then the bystander. Who or what is the bully? Well, the bully is the one that carries out the harassment, the antagonizing. It can be emotionally, physically, verbally. It can be in the form of ostracizing, rumors. There's cyberbullying and basically ongoing torment and harassment of individuals. Bullied is I don't like to use the word victim or victimize the bully, but that's the person, the target, the one that's being harassed. And then there's the bystander, the ones that stand by and do nothing, say nothing for a lot of different reasons. I spoke to kids before, and they said usually a lot of times kids won't say anything because they don't want to be the next target. They don't want to be involved. They don't want to be the one, right? And then the ones that are involved, thinking it's funny and carrying it out, they're bullies too and bystanders because a lot of times the whole circle is just a big circle of fear, hurt, and just without using profanity, a bunch of foolery, right? Especially when it comes to kids, our youth, then that's when adults should be stepping in. Yeah, this right here um, is important, you know, not to just wean out the person being bullied and what we can do for them, but there's a, a whole impact here, and it starts with the bully, right? And so the bully would need help too, right? And so that's why I created a project, Bullied and Bullied No More, for the bully and the bullied. Um, but we'll get into that later. But what I do want to carry on and say is that these three things are very important because they create this environment, right? And then where does the administrator or the teacher come into play? Well, a lot of times they don't. From my experience, they didn't. And that's why I sought out on this mission because after the second time when it got physical with my child, and I saw that there still was no urgency, that's when I said, you know what, this is some BS. And then notice that it goes on, been going on continuously across the globe when it comes to accountability of adults and usually within schools, right? So that's why parents need to be very aware because you know who you live with and you should be paying more attention. Is your child one of these, all of these, right? And why? A lot of times people think they know why a bully is a bully, but you can't pinpoint it. But a lot of times, from my experience, it's because something was going on at home. They're either being bullied at home, lost within the mix of the other children, not really getting the attention that they, sought out, were basically ostracized and treated a certain way at home where they came to school and flexed their power. And then sometimes you just get butthole kids that emulate what they see, right? Adults, you need to be very mindful of that, right? When you are the way you are. Let me give you an example. If you're an asshole, your child might be an asshole. If you're racist, well, obviously, you're going to set out most likely for your child to be racist. That isn't always a situation. I've known kids to have racist parents and they just were so against it. think it may be a rarity, I'm not sure, but you get my point, right? So if you don't want your child to be these awful negative things, then you should probably work on you or whomever you have them around, right? It's your responsibility, accountability, right? There's accountability when it comes to this thing right here, especially when you don't do anything about it. One thing it is that is important is that when a child is expressing to you their agony or that something is going on, when we tell them to come to us and they do, and you do nothing, you basically have failed that child and left it in their ball court to do what they need to do. We've seen that happen plenty of times. I've heard teachers say, people, administrators and stuff tell kids, well, you shouldn't really tell because then blah, 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 blah. Or when it becomes physical, oh, you didn't have the right to defend yourself. Oh, you shouldn't have defended yourself. You didn't have the right to unless you fell on the ground while they were pummeling you. Pathetic, right? And should have been gone before they even started. Who would say such a thing? Some people or schools, teachers, principals would say stuff like, we don't condone our kids to fight back, or we don't really condone parents getting their children, classes and stuff with taekwondo and karate and stuff to protect themselves. But what you do condone is them getting beat up. And by that time, before you could have done something, and then you wanted to say something when the child fought back, you're a piece of crap. It's true. If it's you, you're a piece of crap. Because if it was you, would it be the same? And when people say, well, maybe because they don't know how to handle it. Look, I'm not here to play games with anybody or coddle anybody or play the stupid role. We just don't do that. Common sense is common sense. And a lot of people know what it is to deal with. You know what it looks like. You know when it's wrong. If it was your child, a lot of times people, teachers and administrators have family, they have children. But if it was your child, what would you do? So knock it off and say, we don't really know what to do. Well, you know what to do when it comes to the harm or violence, and someone being harassed, you deal with it. And if you don't know how to deal with it as an overall, then you look for help. But at the end of the day, if you do nothing and then you co-sign it with your rhetoric of excuses, then you're just as responsible as the bully. You're welcome. That being said, these things can turn into. I'm going to jump, into the effects in this episode here because this is very important, and then future episodes will piggyback on the solution. Not really too much of, well, this is what it is, this is that. Yeah, we'll cover all that, but we really need to get to the basis of solutions, and it's really going to hit home because a lot of people probably won't even expect where the solutions are going to go. I don't even get why they wouldn't. But if you know the word accountability, then you can probably put two and two together. I want to go over an incident which there has been many, even since the beginning of the pandemic, or not the beginning, but right around the time we shut down. But this is more recent. A young lady, she told her mother that she just didn't want to go to her school anymore. She couldn't take it anymore. The bullying, picking on her clothes, the color of her skin. It was just constant. And her mom said, "Okay, just give me a little bit of time. I'm gonna get you into a better school," because I think they had already spoken to the school about these things, right? Fail. And people, if schools aren't doing anything, hold them accountable. Get your kid out of there. Your kid did not sign up to go be harassed every day where they should be getting educated, right? So you have to be that advocate, right? And take it seriously, because if they're not, then just imagine what they're letting slot. Like, that's nothing to play with. Safety is before education. Like, your safety is the first thing that comes into play when it comes to school, not you being in that seat. Safety. And if no one sees it that way, get them out and deal with them accordingly. That being said, Spirit, her name, her mother went and to the restroom that quickly, and young lady hung herself, which landed her critical condition. I don't know the update right now, but that's one of the repercussions, one of the effects that can happen from someone or a child dealing with ongoing treacherous, heinous, just ugliness from other children. And that's just one upon probably thousands and thousands. I mean, shit. Um, mm. Also, I wanted to bring something up too about when it comes to bullies, right? Because we don't like bullies, and they get a bad name as they should. But there's something that I did notice too, and these were full-grown adults, and they might have meant it in the best light, right? But you got to use common sense if it's a teaching moment. And what does that say? There's a lesson, and then there's just like, what are you doing? So some people thought it'd be a great idea to teach bullies a lesson and bully the bully. That's just stupid. They're not learning anything. You're reinforcing exactly what they're doing, right? Didn't teach them crap. You're just probably just giving them a taste of their own medicine, right? A lot of times in these situations, you think that they'd be like, people are like, oh, I know how it feels now. You know, in some instances, in certain situations, yeah. But when you have to ongoingly bully bullies, and that's the theme of it all, just bully bullies. There's no lesson that comes from it. No, that's not okay because you're doing the same thing that they're doing, right? What makes it better? What makes it better? You just became the bully, and now they're being subjected to it, and they're maybe learning something, but possibly not. If you ask me, possibly not, because you're not showing that the better side of it, the right way to deal with it, the things not to do. You're just reinforcing and showing them that, oh, you're going to bully somebody, well, I'm going to bully you. So what do you think they're going to do? Oh, I'm just going to bully somebody because they bullied me. And the cycle continues. So not really smart, right? Got to be a method to the madness. So therefore, bullying the bullies, because you just became the bully and you're teaching them nothing. You're just showing them exactly what they showed everybody else. There was an incident, I don't know how recent it was. Now, this right here gets real ignorant, parents. All right, so there's these kids, these 12-year-old girls on a school bus. They got into a fight. I guess one was a bully. Everybody's complaining about her. One of the girls got in a fight with her. That was said. So, girl, got off. I don't know if it was that same day or the next day, I think, or where one of the little girls' mother and brother were on the side of the school bus, right? And you could see the mother passing a gun to her son, who passed it to the girl, the little 12-year-old girl that persistently tried to get on that bus as the bus driver just sat there like a buffoon. Just crap I'm talking about. Where's the accountability? What if she would have just started shooting away, but she was trying to get onto the bus? What if she would have got onto the bus and shot a few children, right? What was that parent thinking? You would have put your daughter in harm, sent her off to, gone her, right? So I don't see any love for your kid there. I don't know. It's a funny way of showing it, but that's not equaling I love my child, right? To go and harm another child, possibly others, and then harm her also because she'd be done for. Also with you being done for. So basically, Ma, that mother had no common sense, like intelligence, and surprised that they even made it that far in life with that type of example, right? Well, that long story short, it didn't work out. Mother and daughter got charged, so she did get her daughter a record, right? And also herself a nice, cushiony time. So kudos to you, you genius. You taught your daughter nothing and basically ruined her life, right? When trying to deal with a bully. That was your answer, to go and kill you sick piece of crap. And thank God that she didn't get on there to harm anybody else. And her being a child, thank goodness she didn't get on there to ruin. And I hope and pray that she learns that that was not okay and to hold you accountable for what you could have caused. towards those children, their families, and to yourself. You won the scummiest parent of a lifetime award. And mm-mm, no bueno. Despicable, disgusted, awful. Just, I can't even believe that you have children, to be honest with you. So there we have it too. So there's so many things that in the mix of it that could go wrong. So how does it get better? Well, on the next episode, I will talk about the basis of the solution, where we can start now and where we should start and where we still can start, and where accountability should be versus sitting back and waiting for you know who to take hold and fix it. When have they ever fixed anything really? At some point, we as human beings, citizens, individuals, people, parents, have to start being accountable and doing things for ourselves and our families, and doing the work, right? You don't have to have some title or be in some seat to make things happen, because if you do that, what are you going to get? But look around. Wake up, open your eyes, because it ain't getting no better if you're waiting for a system as if you have no control over what you can do. So, just saying, start somewhere, and it's very much worth it because it's our youth, and we're the ones that care for them, families, parents, community. Community is another thing too that needs to be discussed. Like, if we're gonna sit around and not discuss these things, but just look how the world's falling apart through division and racism and gender and all this crap, I just can't believe this is what's come to. It's pretty pathetic how we're focused on all the wrong things, but yet here our youth is. And clear example, all that right there, the fatality, the how's that even a solution, right? We have to take that away, right? Like, fix that, like, not allow that or make it to where that is not an option, right? Because they are strong enough and they can get through it, but with help and guidance and support, because they're kids, for goodness sakes. Freaking kids. But then when you get a situation like that mom there, it's like, well, what do you do with that? It's basically like kid slash a monster. Like, what help was she ever going to be? Ever. Just ignorant and foolish and just pathetic. Completely pathetic. So much to talk about, but something not to not talk about. And when it comes to accountability and when it comes to schools, it's your responsibility. And if you can't handle it, don't have a school. Carry on, because these are lives, people's lives, children's lives, parents, children's lives, and they're not to be toyed or played with. And if you don't want to put your best foot forward and you're more concerned about education and the seats being filled and money, whatever it is, then you need to go bye-bye. You need to get out of the way and let people that really care handle these schools, these children, because I don't think that anybody that doesn't have kids' best interest and doesn't care about their safety, and that's not the number one thing, and it doesn't ring red alarm, red alert to you, then you shouldn't be there. And I'm all for you not being there, because why are you there? Can't possibly care about their education if you don't care about their safety. It's full of shit. But until next time, guys, this is Brandy J with the 3Bs, and stay tuned.